Elon Musk, the founder and CEO of SpaceX and Twitter, has spoken out regarding the disappearance of a research submarine that was visiting the Titanic wreckage. But what was his involvement in this tragic event? Let's find out in today's episode. Hello everyone, welcome back to Elon Musk Evolution, where we bring you the most recent news about Elon Musk and his multi-billion-dollar companies, space news, and the latest science and technology. But before we begin, make sure you subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss any of our amazing videos. OceanGate Expeditions, the business in charge of the sub, previously expressed gratitude for Mr. Musk's Starlink service, which was offered by SpaceX, and gave them access to the internet while they were out on the open seas of the North Atlantic. We have the internet connectivity we require to successfully conduct our Titanic diving operations, despite being in the middle of the North Atlantic. We gratefully acknowledge @Starlink for this. In a tweet from earlier this month, the business said. In response to a tweet from Snopes, who noted that Musk is the CEO of SpaceX, the company that runs the Starlink service, Musk made a statement. He declared that the connection between Starlink and the submarine was a psyop. Even a successful psyop can't be run, Musk stated. As soon as news broke on Monday that OceanGate Expeditions had lost touch with the sub and its occupants, a mad dash was launched to find the ship before its life support system failed. Tourists can board the experimental submarine, which cost $250,000, and go to the Titanic's wreckage, which sank in 1912. Currently, there is no evidence to support the theory that Starlink was involved in the disappearance of the ship. Defenders of Musk were eager to point out that given the depths at which the sub operates, Starlink could not feasibly be used to connect with the vessel. Many miles below the fucking ocean, there is no such thing as internet service. One verified Twitter user identified as disinformation researcher Mike Solana commented that Snopes is as viciously partisan and fake as any conspiracy subreddit I've ever encountered. Nevertheless, OceanGate Excursions never stated that it was using the internet to communicate with the sub. The company also maintains surface vessels for support purposes throughout its excursions, and prior reporting has confirmed that these vessels do in fact rely on an internet connection. It is unclear from Musk's response whether he is denying that OceanGate Expeditions uses Starlink's internet service. Musk and SpaceX have been contacted by The Independent for comment. Prior to its journey, David Pogue visited the sub and created a feature article on the ship for CBS News. On Monday, he disclosed that the ship was actually lost for almost 5 hours while he was reporting the story. Pogue claimed to have been on board the command ship at the time of the disappearance and claimed that during the 5-hour period, the crew was able to text the support staff. They could still send short texts to the sub, but they were unsure of its whereabouts, he said in a tweet. To be clear, I was not on the sub that day. I was on the ship at the surface in the control room, he said. It is unknown why crew members of the sub are unable to text the command ship when at sea. He claimed that in order to prevent the command ship's journalists from spreading the news that the sub had gone missing, the firm had cut off their internet access. They turned off the ship's internet so that we couldn't tweet, he wrote, adding that it was quiet and tense. When commentators questioned him about why he did not disclose that OceanGate reportedly shut their access to the internet, Mr. Pogue responded that the firm had told them they needed all lines open for emergencies. He said that ideas for placing a location beacon akin to those used by airlines were sparked by the submarine's misadventure, though it is unknown if such actions were actually done. One of the people missing on the sub is Hamish Harding, a billionaire, entrepreneur, and explorer from the UK. In a social media post, he said that he had been hired as a mission specialist to help with the sub's journey to the wreckage. Another one of the missing is the French maritime expert Paul-Henri Nargiolet. He has visited the Titanic's wreckage with more than just dives. He works with RMS Titanic Inc., a U.S. business that owns the salvage rights to the ship, as the director of underwater research. According to a statement released by Engro Corporation, British businessman Shahzada Dawood and his 19-year-old son Suleiman Dawood are also rumored to be on the sub. Mr. Dawood serves as the organization's vice chair. One of the wealthiest families in Pakistan is that of the Dawoods. According to the company, Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate Expeditions, is also on board. The amount of air in the ship, according to a statement from the U.S. Coast Guard on Tuesday, is less than 40 hours, which reduces the amount of time available for the crew members who are still missing to be successfully rescued. Since OceanGate Expeditions reported the ship missing, the Coast Guard and U.S. Navy have resumed their hunt for it. According to the New Republic, David Lockridge, a pilot who assisted in testing the sub, claims he was sacked after he expressed concern that the ship might not be able to endure the pressure of the deep ocean. He asserts that after raising concerns about the possibility that the business was endangering its clients, he was given 10 minutes to immediately clear out his desk. And here's what we know about the Titan sub. 5 passengers on board the tourist submarine that vanished over the weekend while on an expedition to look into the Titanic shipwreck perished due to a catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber, authorities confirmed on Thursday. A debris field on the ocean floor that was determined to be made up of fragments of the missing sub was discovered during the extensive search operation being conducted in the North Atlantic, according to the U.S. Coast Guard, which made the statement shortly afterward. Rear Admiral John Moger of the Coast Guard stated at a briefing that the debris field is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the vessel, and extended his deepest condolences to the family. A representative for OceanGate Expeditions, the company that organized the trip, told reporters that the passengers, including OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush, have sadly been lost. Here is what we know about the submersible vessel and the events that lead up to this. How did it happen? The crew of the Polar Prince research ship lost touch with the Titan submarine and its 5-person crew approximately an hour and a half later, according to the Coast Guard. The submersible was on a dive to the Titanic debris site on Sunday morning. A 21-foot submarine with a white hull and its last known location were the initial details provided by the Coast Guard to mariners about the missing sub. The alarm message stated that vessels in the area were asked to keep a sharp lookout and offer assistance if they could. The sub went missing in the North Atlantic, 900 miles east of Cape Cod, in water that was around 13,000 feet deep, or roughly level with the Titanic's wreck's depth. Search and rescue operations were stepped up by a united command made up of numerous multinational agencies in response to mounting worries over the planet's diminishing supply of breathable air. An operator, subsequently revealed to be Stockton Rush, CEO of OceanGate Expeditions, was among the 5 individuals on board, along with 4 mission experts, the phrase the firm uses to refer to its customers who can pay up to $250,000 for a seat. Days went by during which no one knew what became of the submarine and its crew. However, soon after the debris was spotted, a Navy officer told CBS News national security analyst David Martin that shortly after the submarine lost touch with the surface on Sunday, the Navy had discovered an acoustic anomaly consistent with an implosion. The Coast Guard received the information, and the officer added that by using it, they were able to focus their search. According to experts, the ship would have been destroyed very instantaneously by such an implosion due to the high pressure of the deep water. Will Conan, chairman of the Marine Technology Society Submarine Committee, told the news agency Reuters that in a fraction of a second it's gone. Conan claimed it implodes inwards in a matter of a thousandth of a second. This would have happened very quickly, and it's probably a mercy since that was probably a nicer finish than the incredibly tough situation of spending 4 days in a cold, dark, and cramped room. I don't think anybody even had the time to comprehend what happened. The National Transportation Safety Board announced on Friday that it will support the Coast Guard, which is now in charge of the incident investigation. Who are the people traveling in the submarine? Hamish Harding, a 59-year-old British billionaire, businessman, and explorer. Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman. French explorer Paul-Henri Nargeolet, who has made numerous dives over the years to explore the Titanic, and Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate Expeditions, who was acting as pilot, were the 5 people on board the submarine, according to CBS News. Andrew Von Kerens, a representative for OceanGate, released a statement just before the Coast Guard briefing on Thursday afternoon. In it, he expressed sympathy to the Titan crew members' families and acknowledged that all 5 of the submersible's crew members were likely already dead. The business said in a statement that these men were true explorers who shared a distinctive spirit of adventure and a deep passion for exploring and protecting the world's oceans. We regret the loss of life and the joy they offered to everyone they knew, and our hearts are with these 5 souls and every member of their families during this awful time." On Thursday, Mauger stated that the Coast Guard was in contact with the general consulates of both the UK and France when they confirmed the sub's impending implosion. In a statement released on Tuesday, the Dawood family, who run the massive international business conglomerate Dawood Group with headquarters in Pakistan, confirmed that members of their family were traveling with the team. In a statement released through the Dawood Foundation on Thursday, the family of Hussein and Kulsum Dawood asked for continued prayers for the departed souls and the family during this trying time of bereavement. "Our sincere gratitude goes out to everyone who helped with the rescue efforts. The overwhelming love and support we receive keeps us going through this terrible loss." A well-known French explorer and former French Navy diver named Nargeolet was returning for another dive on board the Titan submarine. Nargeolet was a member of the 1987 mission that made the first trip to the Titanic wreck. Rory Golden, an explorer and the first Irish diver to visit the Titanic debris in 2000, claimed to have been a part of the expedition, but not to have been aboard the missing submersible in a Facebook post on Monday. Search and rescue operations. The Horizon Arctic, a Canadian ship, was alleged to have released a remotely operated underwater vehicle that made it to the ocean floor, according to authorities. Authorities verified that afternoon that the ROV had discovered what had been initially identified by the Coast Guard as a debris field on the ocean floor, which also contained components of the sub. At a news conference, Mauger stated, "This morning, a ROV from the ship Horizon Arctic discovered the tail cone of the Titan submersible, approximately 1,600 feet from the bow of the Titanic on the seafloor. The ROV later discovered further debris, which, according to analysts from the Unified Command, is consistent with the catastrophic loss of the pressure chamber. We informed the families right away after making our decision," he continued. "I can only imagine what this would have been like for the families, and I hope that this discovery brings them some comfort during this trying time. On behalf of the United States Coast Guard and the entire Unified Command, I offer my deepest condolences to the families." According to Mauger, authorities are still working to develop the details for the timeline involved with this casualty and the response. And they cited the incredibly complex operating environment along the seafloor, over 2 miles beneath the surface. The nose cone, which was first found outside of the pressure hull, was one of the pieces that Paul Hankins, an undersea expert for the U.S. Navy, mentioned during the news conference as being among the 5 different major pieces of debris that told us that it was the remains of the Titan. Then, Hankins recalled, we discovered a sizable debris field. The pressure hull's front-end bell was the first sign that a catastrophic event had occurred when it was discovered in the vast debris field. Shortly later, another, smaller debris field was discovered, and the debris there comprised the totality of that pressure vessel, according to Hankins. He stated, "The debris field is consistent with a catastrophic implosion of the vessel," and further stated that the crew would keep mapping the debris field. When a reporter questioned Mauger about the prospects of finding the passengers, he responded, "This is an incredibly unforgiving environment down there on the sea floor, and the debris is consistent with the catastrophic implosion of the vessel. So we'll continue to work and continue to search the area down there, but I don't have an answer for prospects at this time." Following days of searching thousands of square miles of open ocean for the missing submarine, several agencies from the U.S. and Canada finally found the Titan's wreckage. According to the statement released by the U.S. Coast Guard on Wednesday, searches utilizing ROVs were concentrating on the region where the noises were heard after underwater sounds were detected in the search area. The Coast Guard announced in a tweet on Wednesday that 3 additional vessels had joined the search, including one equipped with side-scan sonar technology that can produce photographs of wide areas of the ocean floor. Along with at least 2 other vessels, that warship started undertaking search patterns as a number of military and non-military organizations collaborated under a single leadership. 5 surface assets are now working on the search, according to Frederick, and an additional 5 are anticipated to join the effort within the next 24 to 48 hours. Additionally, the crew had 2 ROVs actively searching, according to him, and more were expected to join the search on Thursday. The Rescue Coordination Center Halifax was helping with the P-8 Poseidon aircraft, which has underwater detecting capabilities, according to the Coast Guard, which claims it was hunting for the sub using a C-130 aircraft. Additionally, Canadian P-3s placed sonar buoys as part of the mission. Just after midnight on Wednesday, authorities reported that underwater noises had been heard in the search region by aircraft. As a result, underwater search efforts had to be redirected, while the cause of the noises was still unknown. The Coast Guard claims that the sounds were repeatedly heard between Tuesday night and Wednesday morning. "To be quite honest with you," Frederick remarked, "with regard to the noises in particular, we have no idea what they are. The P-3 heard noises, which is why it was in the air, why it was acting as it was acting, and why there were sonar buoys in the sea." Initial report of the missing submersible and subsequent rescue operation surfaced on Monday morning. What noises were those? Frederick recognized that there could have been a variety of causes for the undersea sounds heard by Canadian planes. According to a U.S. Navy source who spoke to CBS News after the sub's wreckage was found on the ocean floor, the thumping sounds reported every 30 minutes could not have been from the implosion. The official stated that those sounds were now thought to have originated from nearby ships. It can be difficult to distinguish between human sounds and nature sounds coming from below the surface, according to Carl Hartsfield, a director of the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution and an expert in underwater acoustics who is on site at the search location as a consultant. According to Hartsfield, the ocean is a very complex area, clearly. Human sounds and natural sounds coexist there, and it can be very challenging to identify the provenance of those noises at times. The submarine. OceanGate Expeditions, a firm that operates manned submarines for deep-sea exploration, and had previously marketed this particular sub's journeys to bring visitors down to the wreckage of the RMS Titanic for $250,000 per seat, was the owner of the unusual submersible vehicle that vanished. The Titanic is still on the ocean floor, more than a century after it sank in April 1912, roughly 400 miles southeast of the coast of Newfoundland. On its website and social media, OceanGate recently announced that its expedition to the shipwreck was underway, calling the 7-night journey a chance to step outside of everyday life and discover something truly extraordinary. The website also noted that the company had 2 other expeditions scheduled for the summer of 2024. The sub can only be fully submerged for a portion of the week-long journey due to its oxygen capacity. If there is an emergency on board, the sub has emergency oxygen and a 96-hour sustainment capacity, according to Mauger. OceanGate verified the lost submersible was theirs and that a search and recovery operation had begun in a statement released on Monday in response to the news of the missing sub. And that ends today's episode. Could the Titan sub really implode? What do you think are the chances that the 5 passengers are still alive somewhere? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Please subscribe and don't forget to like today's video. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.